Hello there, a beautiful morning to you. Welcome to Superscreen News at 10, broadcasting you to you live from our studios in Lagos, Nigeria. And I'm Blessed Omonose. We're starting off now with the presidential assent. President Muhammadu Buhari has communicated his decision to withhold assent to 4 bills to the National Assembly. The presidential decision was contained in a letter read to members by Speaker Yakubu Dogara at the start of the day's proceedings at the House of Representatives. The bills are the Corporate Manslaughter Bill 2018, Agricultural Credit Scheme Bill 2018, National Child Protection Bill 2018, and Court and Tribunal Standard Scale Fines Bill 2018. The President said the Corporate Manslaughter Bill were inconsistent with the 1999 Constitution. He also rejected the Agricultural Credit Scheme Bill on the grounds that the National Assembly jacked up the fund created in the scheme to 50 billion naira. On the Child Protection Bill, President Buhari said the proposed agency would merely duplicate the functions of already established agencies and the Ministry of Women Affairs. Still on national issues now, the Nigerian Senate has called on the Nigerian Air Force and police to carry out an area surveillance of Sokoto, Zamfara and Kebbi states to identify the hideout of bandits causing mayhem in the state. This followed a motion moved by Senator Adamu Aleru, who decried the murder of 40 people in Sokoto state by armed bandits on Monday.
Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, from the information we gathered even yesterday night, these bandits are still operating within that area. Unfortunately, law enforcement agencies have not gone there to checkmate what they are doing. This shows that there is serious laxity in the way security agents carry out their activities. All we need now is an area surveillance of the area so that these bandits can be located and ground troops can go and get them and deal with them decisively.
The lawmaker noted that the killings have been ongoing for over 2 years without any meaningful security contributions. Other lawmakers in their contribution to the debate said there is a need to have a follow-up report describing the killings as a serious issues that require synergy between the DSS, the police and other armed forces.
From politics, Mr. President, what I'm trying to say is this. My brothers and sisters from Plateau, from Benue, from Taraba and everywhere also have similar problems. And anytime they come up, you hear Fulani herdsmen issues. And I have always cautioned, this is one of the divisive tendencies that we have. Let us give this issue the name it requires so that we all can be united in fighting it.
Or what other people will say, it's just about doing the right thing. But for now, we are not doing the right thing that will curtail this killing. This killings is happening every day. There are some killings that are not even reported. Today, human life in Nigeria is nothing. Many killings are taking place all these killings about 8, 4, 5. That one people don't even report it. It is when it gets to maybe 30, 40, 50 that you even hear, even the press now, they are even tired of reporting the killings. Look at today's newspaper. You will even see the killings because even the press are getting tired.
This was a very terrible situation that happened on Monday. In fact, the number of people killed in that village was more than 100. Because these people just came in and started killing people left and right and center. There was nothing. In fact, they first started with the son of the village head. Then when the son of the village head was killed, the father went to report to the police. On his way, he was killed. That's the father, that's the village head. And then immediately after that, they came back and started killing everybody in the village. And they killed about 100. In fact, unfortunately, before then, the army and the police were invited to come to the place. They came. They were there briefly. And the people were monitoring them. That's the bandits. Immediately after the army and the police left the place, they just came in and started killing.
The Senate therefore called on the Inspector General Police to set up a special squad to mop up the whole zone in order to get rid of the armed bandits and bring to halt their operations. The House of Representatives has demanded the suspension of President Muhammadu Buhari Executive Order No. 6. Debating on the issue during plenary, the lawmakers called for an investigation into the constitutional compliance of all subsidiary legislation and executive orders. According to the motion sponsored by Honorable Nicholas Osal and supported by 27 other lawmakers, the Executive Order No. 6 appears to hijack and absorb legislative and judicial powers.
To the United States of America, which will copy the presidential system of government. When you watch the constitution of the United States government, which is the Grand North, which is the operational compass upon which the United States government rests its legislative powers. Mr. Speaker, this operational compass, which is our constitution, does not recognize executive order in the first place. So it's foreign to our constitution. Mr. Speaker, and if the legislature that represents over 200 million Nigeria cannot rise up to the occasion to challenge the essence of having the legislative house with double chamber is to correct the autocracy of the executive.
Speaking against the motion, Mojid Alavi, representing Ocean West, said the executive order is in good faith and does not infringe on the legitimate right of a citizen, noting that presidency order is not illegal.
So when I came into the chamber and I learned about this motion, I felt elated. Unfortunately, when I went through the tenure of the motion, I came to the conclusion that the motion is not only incompetent, it is also hasty and premature. On this ground, I want to raise 3 questions. The first question is, has the president the power to make executive orders? I answer in the affirmative by saying yes. I listened to my colleague referring to the United States of America. And you know, the U.S. Constitution is so compact that you can easily read it. And there is no section of the Constitution that says the President of the United States of America must use executive powers.
Away from that now to the Ekiti State election, the Oni of Ife and Ohaneze Indigbo have condemned the alleged police harassment of Ekiti State Governor Ayodele Fayose. They made this view known in an interview with Superscreen television in Lagos. Reactions have continued to trail the alleged harassment and brutality meted on Governor of Ekiti State, Ayodele Fayose, while the Oni of Ife, King Enito Oguwusi, calls for a peaceful and credible poll. President of Ohaneze Indigbo condemned the act, insisting that Nigerians' democracy is being threatened.
We want to have peace. We want to continue to live in peace. We do not want crisis. We want to appeal to all the authorities that they should please step up with everything they're doing to ensure that we have a free and fair election. There is a lot of tension in Ekiti right now. We are not happy about it. We are very concerned. We do not want the southwestern part of this country to become a battleground.
We are so worried because if it could happen to him now, tell me what can happen to the man on the street on that very day of election. It shows that he could be taken and locked up in the prison without him casting his vote. So therefore, we condemn it totally. Completely, totally. Absolutely what happened was wrong. And the government must come up to tell whoever that stopped them, even after the Supreme Court have ruled that you don't need so and so to conduct a rally, and yet the 10th thing happened.
Reacting further, these legal practitioners decried the action of the police, saying it is an infringement on the governor's rights under the law.
If we look at what happened there, I think the police went beyond their bounds as given to them by the Constitution and the Police Act. And their function is clearly stated in the Police Act and the Constitution of the Federal Republic and other relevant laws, to the extent that what they are supposed to do was to give protection to the people conducting a peaceful rally or peaceful march.
On the way forward, they made a renewed call for state policing, amongst others.
We condemn it totally, and I don't think that the government, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, who is the commander-in-chief that commands the police, should be able to call the police people that did it and possibly recall them and send another team to that very place.
What you need to do now is to query the Inspector General of Police and make sure that this gets to the attention and knowledge of all Nigerians.
It remains to be seen how the election in Ekiti State will turn out. And still in Ekiti State, the national chairman of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Uche Secondus, has led the National Working Committee of the party to the National Assembly to protest the alleged police molestation of the Ekiti State Governor, Ayodele Fayose. Speaking to journalists, Secondus urged the National Assembly and the international community to intervene in the matter.
We have come so that you can intervene by the oversight function of the National Assembly. You have the right, the mandate is with you by the Constitution to query and to examine and carry out your oversight function on the executive and the security. The security agencies cannot be above the law. No. The executive cannot be above the law. No. We are aware that INEC has printed result sheet to do replacement by some security agencies. They carried it out in some states and they are now ready. They did it in Edo. They are now ready to do same in Ekiti and preloading. Is that the type of democracy that we want? No!
Everybody in Nigeria can see what is happening right now. So the decision is ours to choose a law-abiding, party, or to choose those who are ready to kill at the, for anything. I think the electorate should begin to make up their mind on what to do about Nigerians. Otherwise, we'll not have a country. Also, I'm calling on the international community not to keep quiet. Nigeria is a very great country in Africa. If anything happens in Nigeria, it will affect the whole continent.
We're skeptical. So we are not sure what's going to happen on Saturday. Nobody. There are too many uncertainties. And we are here because of these uncertainties. And we believe that if we cry out loud as early as possible, and if this country seeks for its survival in democracy, then we hope that the message will go to the right quarters and the right decisions will be taken and the right measures.
It's not about PDP or APC or anything. We are now talking of Nigeria. We are talking of Nigeria that they want to push over the brink. You know how tenuous the situation in this country is now. And we are going into an election and we are seeing that people do not care what happens to this country and they want to push us over the brink. I had to get up. All the founding members, mothers and fathers of PDP came out. Our presence here is making the statement that no, we want to take back our country.
Also at the protest was a former Senate President, Adolphus Wambara, former Minister of Health, Professor ABC Wonsu, and former Majority Leader of the Senate, Mukalat Akonde Adola, among others.
Democracy is about people free speech and free expression. So I want to thank you because what you've done is within the tenets of democracy. I want to assure you that as representative of the people, we will never support anything that's anti-democratic. We'll do everything possible to ensure that we continue to work within the tenets of democracy. We've heard you. We are going to make contacts with all the institutions of democracy, especially as we concern Ekiti State. We'll make contact with INEC. We'll make contact with the police and other security agencies to ensure that they are neutral. I want to assure you that we'll do that as soon as possible so that in Ekiti there will be free and fair election.
Still talking Ekiti State election, as part of the directive from the national leadership of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, the Edo State chapter of the party staged a peaceful protest along a major street in Benin to deliver a letter regarding the unfortunate developments in Ekiti. State Publicity Secretary Chris Nehikari said the national chairman of the All Progressive Congress, APC, Adams Oshomole, has brought thugs to Ekiti State to rig Saturday's governorship election.
In solidarity with Nigerians, and actually in sympathy with Nigeria for having such a despotic government in power that has not turned state power to power of tyranny and that of terrorism. We have come to plead with the press to talk, to write about these ugly incidents and tell the government that democracy cannot survive this way. Yes. In PDP, we believe in the rule of law, we believe in democracy, and we believe in Nigeria. However, if we are pushed to the wall, we will fight. We will resist any attempt to rig, to write results the way Adams Oshomole did it for 8 years here in Edo, in the election taking place in Ekiti State. He has imported his thugs from Edo State to go and write results, go and intimidate voters in Ekiti. Yes. He imported them into Ekiti to go and do the rubbish he did here in Edo State. I want to send a message to our people in Edo State that are being used once again, that this election is not their own. Yes. If they cannot come out to openly campaign for people to vote for Buhari, they should not be used to write election, to use for thuggery, to use to intimidate people in other states.
However, receiving the protesters, the Nigerian Union of Journalists, NUJ, Financial Secretary Lucky Sibo told the protesters to go on with their peaceful protest and they should not give way to anyone who is not part of them to take over the protest by creating problems.
Deputy Commissioner of Police Operations, Mr. Latuji Ayodele, met with us and he said he was the one that stood in for the Commissioner of Police. We told him that we came to register a very peaceful protest against the very sad development in Ekiti State, where a sitting governor, deputy governor, and so many party leaders of PDP were yesterday humiliated, tear gas, and you knew what happened. So we have come to tell them that election in Ekiti State is Saturday. We are saying that we want a very peaceful election. We want an election where you will have one man and one vote, one youth, one vote, one woman, one vote. We are tired of bloodletting.
As you go about your protest, be peaceful and ensure that hoodlums do not hijack it and you make evil opportunity out of it to start rampaging all over the place. As you go about protesting, I want to assure you that your message to the government, all the various medium here, we use them to reach out to the public.
The People's Democratic Party PDP caucus in the Senate has asked the federal government to set up a judicial panel to investigate the alleged attack on Ekiti State Governor Ayodele Fayose. Senate Minority Leader Gaswi Akpabio, who spoke on behalf of the caucus after a closed-door section, condemned the attack, saying it violates the immunity clause as infringed on the governor by the Nigerian Constitution.
The unfortunate incidents that occurred in Ekiti State, where the governor of that state was seen with a collarbone and of course actually alleging that he was beaten by security agents and that he used the butt of the gun and hit his head, hit his neck and all. And so as a caucus, we believe that this kind of incident needs to be investigated very thoroughly. So whilst we condemn any attack on a sitting governor as a total rape on the Constitution, because it violates the immunity clause in the Constitution of Nigeria. We call on the federal government to immediately set up a judicial commission.
In a similar development, the National Vice Chairman of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Eddie Oyefesho, has expressed confidence in achieving victory at the polls in Ekiti State. Oyefesho could disclose these while reacting to the crisis in Ekiti State.
Security for an election itself is not a bad thing. But when the security provided is meant to protect, to secure, to give on the advantage to one of the parties in contest, it becomes a criminal act. And that's exactly what is happening in Ekiti State. If Kayode Fayemi is allowed a free movement across the state, and then suddenly Dr. Peter Ayodele Fayose is constricted into the government house, blocked by, APC tanks and thousands of policemen, then you can see that the essence of what they try to achieve is to muzzle the PDP and cower us. But they are so wrong. I can guarantee you the fact that we're going to win on Saturday, and that's what we intend to do when we win in Ekiti.
While he urged Ekiti electorate to come out and vote without fear, he maintained that the election must be counted in the presence of all to justify a credible poll.
When you try to rig violence, you never know how long it will take and who will be affected. We are going to protect our people through education. Their PVC can separate and liberate them. We are going to protect our people by ensuring that we constantly alert them about the machination of the APC government and APC party. And we're doing everything to be sure that we alert the rest of the world community, the United Nations, United States of America, Great Britain, and all international bodies present in Nigeria. There will be observers in that election. And we are appealing to them using this medium to ensure that they make the APC responsive for the very first time to the yearning and aspiration and crying of the Nigerian people to ensure they protect life and property.
When Superscreen News at 10 returns, we bring you business in just a moment. Stay with us. Glad to have you back now to the world of business. The federal government has reconstituted the tax appeal tribunals in the 6 geopolitical zones as well as Lagos and Federal Capital Territory. Minister of Finance Kemi Adeosun disclosed this, said this in a statement issued by a media advisor, Oluyinka Akintunde, said the tribunals will adjudicate all the disputes arising from the operations of federal tax laws and regulations in the country. The reconstitution of the tribunals is in accordance with Section 2 of the 5th Schedule of the Federal Inland Revenue Service Establishment Act. The Senate has raised an alarm over the dilapidated state of the runway of the Kano Imbiam International Airport in Enugu State, warning that the facility is now in a threat to the safety of air traffic passengers. While debating a motion on need for emergency reconstruction of the runway, Enugu lawmaker called for a quick response by the federal government to the warnings on the facility. Adopting the motion moved by Senator representing Enugu North, Chukwu Utazi, the Senate unanimously resolved to urge the Federal Ministry of Transportation and all the relevant authorities to resurface and reconstruct the runway and extend the length. And finally, on business, the federal government has approved contracts totaling about 358 billion naira for road, bridges and power at a meeting of the Federal Executive Council FEC meeting presided over by President Muhammadu Buhari. Minister of Power, Works and Housing Babatunde Fashola, who disclosed this to journalists, said the council approved 8.9 billion naira for the construction of the Ikon Bridge and roads in Cross River State. The minister explained that the idea behind the contract is to create access to the port for trucks, adding that its current state is restricting the movement of trucks. When Superscreen returns after this break, we'll take foreign and sport news. Join us again. If you're just joining us, this is Superscreen News at 10. We'll bring you foreign news just now. United States President Donald Trump has arrived in the UK for a 4-day visit amid a flurry of political turmoil and planned protests against him. The president and his wife Melania went